All right, everyone. Thank you again for being with us here. My name again is Jamie. I am your MRPP admin, the one that's been sending you notifications, your emails. And I'm very glad to finally be connected with everyone. Again, guys, connection is a big part of our industry. So if you'd like for each of us to comment, you can leave your LinkedIn profiles on our chat. It's open for everyone. Let us connect and share expertise with each other. So moving forward to our event, I would like first to briefly share about AMRPP. So our vision is to be the premier organization for physical asset management, maintenance, equipment reliability, and asset integrity of the Philippines. And our mission is to promote and advance, of course, the application of knowledge, to develop and promote best practices within the Philippine community, and of course, to contribute to the economy. So we have different memberships, and we will be happy to invite you to be a member. We have individual membership, which are professionals. Of course, these are more of a personal membership. Next is the supplier. If you have a company or you have a technology that you want to share within our community, we are inviting you to be a supplier member. This way, you can join with the with the knowledge sharing while also promoting your technology within our space. Of course, lastly is the executive member. If you'd like your company to be um, if you'd like our company to be viewed as one that is supporting this initiative, and also if you want reliable your maintenance community within your company to be part and a member of our AMRPP, please head over and be our executive member. All right. Not keeping you waiting. So I would like everyone to please meet our president and also a board of trustees, Mr. Vince Bernal, to give us a short opening remark for this webinar. Sir Vince.
Thank you so much, Jamie, and good afternoon to everyone. It is my honor to welcome you here. This is one of the first webinars that we have scheduled for this year. And I'm happy that Sir Jason, as one of our Board of Trustee member and VP for External, is taking the challenge, taking this opportunity to share his knowledge with us. So I'm really honored to have you all here. Welcome. Alam ko that most of you are busy, if not all are very busy, but your presence here shows that talagang committed tayo in growing in our profession, not only to ourselves, but of course to our teams, a company that we work with, as well as the industries na pinaglilingkuran natin. No? So in AMRPP, we believe that learning is best when shared. That's why here in this webinar, it's not just about learning, not about just getting the knowledge, but also connecting. Jamie keeps repeating about connecting with each other among practitioners because that essentially is our core here in AMRPP. So I encourage you that while you're listening, please feel free to share your thoughts. We have our chat chat box right here. You can ask questions and engage in this community. So here, it's not just to listen, but to collaborate and build stronger ties. Because really, we can go far if we are working together and we help each other and collaborate. So I hope this webinar for this year will inspire you and also challenge you to see what learnings you can apply in your own work and in your personal life, perhaps. And also a reminder that you are part of a growing and a passionate community. Thank you very much. And I turn you over back to Jamie. Good afternoon.
Right. Thank you so much, Sir Wins, for that. And yes, this is a first webinar for our year. We are gearing up for more webinars and more activities for our AMRPP members. So, everyone, presenting you our title for this afternoon's webinar, Maintenance Strategies for a Reliable Plant Equipment. So before we start on the webinar proper, I'd like to just show you and present you our speaker for today. He is a certified maintenance and reliability practitioner with 23 years of experience in the petrochemical industries, specializing in RCA, asset criticality, RCM, and PMO agile projects. He is also our vice president external for AMRPP that is passionate for continuous learning and dedicated to sharing knowledge and expertise. So everyone, please give a warm welcome to our speaker, Sir Engineer Jason Mendoza. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, Jamie. Good afternoon, everyone. Just checking. Can you hear me? Okay ba audio?
Yes, Sir
Okay.
Jason, I can hear you from my end.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Erwin. So I'll be sharing my screen. If you allow, Jamie. Okay. Uh, Jamie, can you confirm if you can see my screen already?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I assume that everyone can see my screen. Unfortunately, I cannot see your reaction. So Jamie will be the one to assist me, ano, kung mayroong mga questions. Okay, let's start. So good afternoon once again. I'm Jason Mendoza, and I'm here to present about maintenance strategies. And I believe this is the first webinar that we have scheduled for this year. This will be a series of webinar. Nauna lang ako, so I believe my peers will be presenting also, no, on other schedules. Okay, so let's start with a quote. On the screen, you can see the quote, "Your system is perfectly designed to deliver precisely the results you're getting." This quote came from Edward Deming. And come to think of it, so if your system is actually failing, so you are actually doing and designing it to fail. So later on, we'll talk about this, about equipment failure. Just something to think about as we go on to our webinar. Okay, so I have prepared the presentation on the following manner. So we'll be talking about maintenance. We'll be talking about the journey to world-class maintenance, the different types of maintenance. Then we'll be talking about equipment failure, and I will be providing a PM evaluation example, which is a part of PM optimization process. So it's just an example on how you are going to apply the knowledge on equipment failure and how to basically select the strategies that you need for a particular equipment. So pag-usapan natin yung selection and strategies later. Okay? So what is maintenance? Based on our European standards, itong EN 13306 actually is about maintenance terminologies. Sabi niya, maintenance is the combination of all technical, administrative, and managerial actions during the life cycle of an item intended to retain it, restore it to a state in which it can perform the required function. So later on, you'll be hearing about function at saka functional failures. Pag-usapan din natin yan later. So this definition actually implies that doing maintenance includes performing tasks to prevent failures and or to restore the asset to full productive capacity. Just something to think about before we continue. When you buy an asset, kung bibili ka ng isang equipment, you actually don't buy it as is. I mean, you buy it more than what you intended to do for you. For example, the capacity of 14 kilograms per hour, hindi ka naman bibili ng eksaktong 14 kilograms per hour. Ang bibilhin mo is more than that, no? Para meron kang maintenance, that maintenance leeway. We'll be talking about that later. So basically, maintenance impacts our equipment reliability. It keeps the equipment in its designed operational condition, prevents the equipment from losing partial or full functional capabilities, and preserve and protect the equipment. Every organization has this journey toward just maintenance. Nagsisimula ang lahat, no, in the first generation. When we say first generation, we are at the reactive realm. So reactive tayo, no? We repair after breakdown and we focus on repair. No? Sa maniwala kayo at sa hindi, I've come to some organizations wherein they don't have PM programs yet. So yung kanilang talagang maintenance organization is just for repair and reactive. No? So laging pag may problema, yun lang ang kanilang ginagawa. I've seen one or two organizations already na ganito pa din ang kanilang pinapractice, especially those small organizations, yung mga base level na ano lang na planta. No? However, when you come to petrochemical plants, when you come to refineries, of course, yung kanilang maintenance organization is quite matured na already. And you'll see that dun sa next generations natin. However, going back, meron din namang reward ito. If you look at the presentation do sa reward row, meron siyang rewards, heroism. Ang hero dito yung magagaling mag-repair, no? Tapos of course, sa pay, meron tayong overtime pay kapag naglalampas tayo sa ating time when we are doing some repair works, no? Going to the second generation, nandito na yung mga plant. No? In the planned realm, basically, we have the predict, we have the plan, we have the schedule, we have the coordinate, we have the focus on cost. So basically, meron tayong planning, ito yung behavior, and the motivation is to avoid breakdown. And the reward is predictability. Now here, nandito na yung maintenance. Nandito na yung ating preventive, nandito na yung ating predictive maintenance sa second generation. We also have, as we mature, meron tayong third generation, which is the proactive. So ang maganda naman dito, napapasok na yung root cause analysis o napapasok na yung defect elimination. So we focus on value, we eliminate defect, we improve our precision. If you heard about precision maintenance, ito yung correct maintenance procedures, correct maintenance, hindi lang procedure, yung mga requirements, everything, magiging precise siya. So nandito na yun sa proactive maintenance realm. Now the behavior is organizational learning and the motivation is availability. Ang habol natin is availability of equipment. And the reward is competitive advantage. Now, all of these organizations actually, ang gusto niyang marating is yung fourth generation, which is strategic. We don't just improve it, we optimize it, and we innovate. So here, we have the alignment sa vision ng organization. We have the integration on the different functionalities at saka different departments of the organization. For example, sa supply chain, sa purchasing, sa sales, sa operations, sa marketing. So nag-i-integrate na yung ating maintenance. We have the differentiation and looking at the system performance. We have alliances. The behavior is optimizing and innovating, and the motivation is growth. So ito na yung tinatawag nating best-in-class maintenance. When we achieve this best-in-class maintenance, we actually have increased knowledge, higher skills sa ating mga personnel, wider perspective. We are seeking excellence, improving system quality, using integrated systems. We'll talk about integrated systems later. Now, I will just go back dito sa ating first, second, third, and fourth generation. Sa tingin nyo, yung mga organizations na kinabibilangan ninyo, nasaan na kaya tayo ngayon? Are we at the first generation? Hopefully not, ano? Doon sa previous organization ko, we are looking at the second and third generation mix, ano? Wala pa kami actually sa fourth generation. But of course, the target is going to the fourth generation. Okay, I'll proceed. So, there are actually different types of maintenance. We have those maintenance focused on efficient maintenance repair and those focused on failure cost elimination. Now, dito sa left side, no, we have the reactive and the planned. So, of course, yung pinag-usapan natin earlier, ano, yung reactive realm, no, yung repair cost is high, downtime is there, and of course, there is breakdown. Pati yung plan, yung mga preventive maintenance natin, ganito na yung plan, yung scheduled, coordinated, and predicted. We are on the left side, which is focused on efficient maintenance repair. Now, if you are going to focus on the failure cost elimination, nandito na yung intrinsic reliability, which eliminate the root causes. When we say you eliminate the root causes, meron kang root cause analysis. So, doon sa pinakadulo, nakikita niyo yung root cause oriented. So here, there is the proactive, the defect elimination, and the defensive machine design. No? Dito pumapasok sa intrinsic reliability. And then, if you go to world class, nandun na yung asset optimization. So here we have the vision alignment, we have the optimization, we have the integration, alliances, and cultural transformation. As per our European standard, no, yung maintenance natin, we have the preventive maintenance, which is before failure, and we have the after failure, which is the corrective maintenance. So as you can see, sa preventive maintenance, nandun yung condition-based maintenance and then the predetermined maintenance. Yung common maintenance na alam natin, yung naka-schedule, for example, 3-monthly oil replacement, no? Or change oil, ano? It is under the predetermined maintenance, scheduled siya. The condition-based maintenance is actually a different mindset, pag-uusapan natin later. And this is also scheduled, no? Continuous or on request. So mamaya pag-usapan natin more on those condition-based maintenance. Yung predetermined, ito yung alam natin na normal na maintenance na naka-schedule. For example, if you have a car, meron kang PMS, this is basically in the predetermined maintenance realm, no? Na dito sa column na yon. Now, if it is after failure sa corrective maintenance, we have a deferred and we have an immediate corrective maintenance. Come to think of it, halimbawa you have a failure at the plant, no? There are failures na hindi naman agad-agad kailangang i-repair, no? Pwedeng i-schedule, no? But there are failures na kailangan mong i-repair agad kasi pag hindi mo ni-repair, your plant will shut down. No? There are those failures. No? So basically, yun yung difference. You have the deferred and you have the immediate corrective maintenance. No? Let's focus on preventive maintenance. So under preventive maintenance, we have the condition-based maintenance and we have the predetermined maintenance. Earlier, I have talked about the predetermined maintenance. So pag-usapan natin ngayon yung condition-based maintenance. So these are the assessments of physical condition, analysis, and the possible ensuing maintenance action. When we say the operator have these rounds, tinitingnan mo yung level ng lubrication, tinitingnan mo yung temperature ng equipment, yung operator na nagra-round, this is actually under condition-based maintenance. Ito yun, kung makikita nyo doon sa predictive and non-predictive, under the non-predictive, there is operator observations or monitoring of system parameters. Even the operator is just in the screen. No? Tinitingnan lang niya yung temperature, tinitingnan niya yung level, tinitingnan niya yung flow, tinitingnan niya yung vibration kung kita sa screen. They are doing monitoring. This is under condition-based maintenance. So these are actually tasks assigned to operator. Correcting that, these are maintenance tasks being assigned to operator. So there are tools actually, or there are exercises na na ginagawa, for example, yung RCM, for example, yung PM optimization, these exercises are being done to identify those maintenance tasks to be assigned to operators. As per my experience, there are operators na ayaw tumanggap ng mga maintenance tasks, but providing them with better knowledge on maintenance and also on equipment reliability, they tend to accept, no? Nakikita nila yung value of what they are actually doing. So, going to the left side, yung predictive, dito ngayon pumapasok yung ating mga tools. Dito ngayon pumapasok yung ating PDM tools, to be exact. Yung ating vibration monitoring, yung ating thermography, yung ating oil analysis, no, yung ating electrical tests, no. So dito pumapasok sa predictive. So basically going back, looking at the another level, higher level, so the preventive maintenance kasama talaga yung condition-based maintenance and the predetermined maintenance. So hindi ko na-elaborate itong predetermined maintenance. This is again yung ating alam na PMS, no, or PM ng ating mga equipment. Okay, here is condition-based maintenance. So it's actually preventive maintenance as our standard says, PM din siya, which includes the assessment ng physical conditions, no? Again, operator observation is there, inspection is there, testing is there, condition monitoring of system parameter is there, and other items na ginagawa natin to check for the current condition ng ating equipment. Kaya nga tinatawag siyang condition-based maintenance. For predetermined maintenance, this is again our calendar-based PM. Kung siya by weekly,
Ayan.
hi, JB.
Yep.
Okay. JB, before continuing, baka meron tayong mga questions. Let's answer them first. Meron ba?
So everybody in our webinar, do you have any questions? You can raise your hand or you can type in on our message box. Any questions? All right, sir, we have one question. This is from Sir Gelig. For a company still on a second gen maintenance strategy, can they jump off on a fourth gen approach? If yes, does this mean a major revamp on their management?
Okay. Technically, actually, they can jump. No? They can go ahead and go to the fourth gen again. No. Yung next question mo about major revamp, it depends on what is actually the organization currently. No. So kung naka-align naman siya on world-class maintenance practices, so probably not a major revamp, but kung wala talaga, kasi as I have said, there are organizations na wala pa rin talagang maintenance structure. Meron akong napuntahan na talagang ano lang sila, mga taga-repair lang, no? Parang mga mekaniko lang na tinatawagan for repair, so wala talaga silang preventive maintenance. On this type of organization, then major revamp ang kailangan doon. But if there's somehow a maturity level na okay na, no, kaya na, pwede namang mag-jump agad, no, from second to fourth gen. Actually, yun ang trinay gawin ng previous organization ko. We are from second generation and then we compress, parang nagkaroon kami ng 5-year transformational or reliability transformation. And then it just so happened that I was hindi ko na inabot yung pa-fifth year, no. So yun ang trinay ng organization from second generation to fourth generation. Did I answer it okay na, Mr. Jelig ba? Tama ba? Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Sige, I hope na okay na yung ating network. Let me just share my screen again, no? Sorry.
Alright. Yes po. And if you have any more questions na gusto nyong i-ask, you can still send it over to the chat box po. Or you can raise hand and you can ask questions directly po. Alright? Okay, sir, we can view your screen.
Okay. So, as you have said, Jamie, dito tayo nawala.
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So let me just continue, condition-based maintenance. Again, these are assessments on the physical condition and analysis and the possible ensuing maintenance action. So included is the operator observation, inspection, testing, condition monitoring of parameters, as I have said on the previous slide. Now, for the predetermined maintenance, ito na yung yung calendar-based. It may be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, 3-monthly. Normally, nanggagaling to sa mga OEM. If the asset is new, the predetermined maintenance recommendations is coming from OEM. Now, habang tumatagal, kasi nakakaroon tayo ng tinatawag nating PM creep. Kumbaga, the number of PMs is too much. It's not healthy anymore for the organization. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na PM optimization process. We optimized our PMs. Yung mga recommendations sa mga OEMs normally ay nagbabago based on the recommendations ng ating PM optimization. Some organizations also use RCM. On my previous organization, we did both. We did PM optimization and we did RCM. Inuna lang muna namin yung PM optimization kasi mas mabilis siyang i-implement. And then later on, we did RCM. Mas detailed study on the requirement ng asset. So, for those that don't know RCM yet, actually ito yung trend ngayon. Maraming organizations in the Philippines are looking for RCM and how they can actually select the best strategies for their assets using the study, yung reliability-centered maintenance. Now, on the predetermined maintenance, actually, yung mga simple nating ginagawa, for example, cleaning, qualitative and quantitative inspections. Just looking at the asset, kung nag-discolorized ba siya, so that's a qualitative. Kung quantitative naman, may mini-measure ka. For example, you are looking at the how many drops per minute yung a particular, for example, lubrication. So that's also a PM. Adjustments, replenishments, replaced and rebuild. We'll be talking about these activity types in detail. So cleaning, alam naman natin to, we ensure that our machinery is clean for proper operation. Yung mga problema natin, most of our problems sa ating machineries is coming from a dirty or sa dirt. Just for example, kung lubrication natin is madumi, napapasukan ng contaminants, then definitely naghihintay lang tayo ng time, our machinery will fail. However, yung cleaning per se, yung paglilinis ng machine should be an operator activity and not a maintenance activity. Some organizations, kahit yung paglilinis ng kanilang mga equipment, inaasa pa sa maintenance. But yung tamang trabaho is yung cleaning, yung daily cleaning, for example, or weekly cleaning ng equipment, na wala ka naman talagang ina-adjust or whatever technical activity that you have, wala naman talagang ginagawang ganon, should be an operator activity. Except for times na halimbawa, yung ating yung ating maintenance ay nag-conduct ng isang overhauling activity. Of course, after the overhauling process, i-clean na rin niya yung equipment. So only those times na dapat ang maintenance ang naglilinis ng ating equipment. But for every day, it should be an operator activity. Mind you, when we did the PM optimization project, we are actually assigning the cleaning activity on operators. However, there are disagreement between the operators and maintenance people. Ayaw nilang tanggapin. So they need to be educated. So it's a anong tawag dito? It's a challenge for the team, for the RCM team or the PM optimization team to convince these operations people na yung normal cleaning should be an operator activity. Na? Inspection. So actually the heart of the maintenance program ay ang inspection. There are two major categories, which is the qualitative and the quantitative. As I have said earlier, pag qualitative, you do not require a special tool. For example, yung mga feeler gauges, micrometers, dial indicators, or even yung mga electronic tools natin, yung mga vibration equipment natin, yung ating thermographic equipment, no? We use that for quantitative. So ito kasi yung nagre-require ng special tools and special skill set. No? As you may know, no, for example, kung ikaw ay magte-take ng vibration, may mga certifications required, no, for a vibration inspection engineer. No? Adjustments, no? Some machine have different settings depending on the mode of operations or the product they are running. So there are times that you require the machine to be configured differently. So operations often make this machinery adjustment themselves without the maintenance technician. However, kapag for example, we do some calibrations for those people in the instrumentation industry, we do calibrations normally, for example, every year. And then when we find a problem in our equipment or transmitter, we do some adjustments. So that type of activity is also a PM activity. Replenishment simply means to put back what has been consumed. Normally, lubrication or coolants, no? And etc. Yung pag nauubos, we just replenish them. And then, ito yung pinakamalimit, no? For PM, yung replacement. We normally schedule replacement. No? For example, filter replacement, even yung oil, change oil, no? You replace the oil, no? And so on and so forth. This is part of PM activity type, yung pag-replace. And we have the rebuild. Ito naman yung overhauling, no? Nag-rebuild tayo. There were a time wherein due to OEM recommendations, yung mga pumps and other machineries, may 5-yearly overhauling doon sa previous company. So what we did when we did the RCM and the PM optimization, after the study, hindi lumalabas that you need every 5-yearly overhauling. So it so happened na yun lang yung original na recommendation. So yung organization, naging gano'n na yung practice. But because of the study of PM optimization and reliability-centered maintenance studies, nabago yon. And you were able to save money. Na? Imagine, a very big pump, yung overhaul mo, magpapalit ka ng mga spare parts kahit hindi pa naman talaga kailangan. So we started doing condition-based maintenance, and then based on that condition or the data coming from the condition-based maintenance, yun ang naging basis if you are going to do the overhauling or not. Now, this chart is an example of a PM program design. The coverage is determined by the RCM. In this particular design, the coverage is determined by RCM. And so, meaning the coverage of the PM program design is all coming from RCM. Now, just to give you an example, on my experience, hindi lahat ng equipment is covered by RCM. So, for example, ang mga critical A's lang, critical A lang, yun lang ang gagawin mo ng RCM. Yung critical B, hindi na siya RCM. It can be a PM optimization activity. Yung critical C, pwedeng hindi na siya coverage, hindi na siya gawa ng study, pwedeng run to fail na lang siya. So may mga strategy na ganyan. However, for this particular presentation, I am showing you a particular coverage coming from RCM. Now, the next column is route compliance. When we say route compliance, determined by the RCM, dapat meron kang greater than 95 route compliance and greater than 90% route adherence. So lumalabas, these are just KPIs. No? Kasi syempre, to measure your program, you need KPIs. And this is an example. On an RCM coverage, nakaproduce ka ng mga route. No? Yung route na yon is PM, preventive maintenance. So when we say preventive maintenance, ay yung predetermined based. So we're just talking about predetermined and condition-based maintenance here. Now, so dapat yung mga route is greater than 95% and then yung mga route adherence is greater than 90%. Now, what's the difference between the compliance and the adherence? When we say compliance, basta nasa route, dapat na-comply mo. When you say adherence, kapag the-call, no, you still have the 10% rule. The 10% rule says that after the call, dapat by 10% na-implement mo yung iyong preventive maintenance in terms of call window. Paano ko ba explain? Let's say, yung PM, ang call dapat is today. So dapat within, for example, siya ay yearly. So kung yearly, 10% is at least a month. No? So dapat within 1 month after and 1 month before, dapat na-implement mo yung PM. So that's route adherence. Now, PM optimization here, actually, marami kasing, as I have said earlier, yung PM program nagsisimula sa OEM recommendations. And those OEM recommendations, plus yung mga pinapasok pa ng mga supervisors natin ng walang basis, halimbawa yung best practice lang sa kanilang area. So ang dami, nagkakaroon ng PM creep. So here, nagkakaroon ka dapat ng evaluation. And that PM evaluation is part ng PM optimization. Generally, ang ginagawa ng PM optimization is you delete non-value adding tasks. So may definition yung non-value adding task, but the main definition is dapat yung task is failure modes based, meaning meron dapat siyang ina-address na failure mode. We also have the procedure quality. Ito naman yung precision maintenance. No? So dapat yung procedures should be repeatable, be clear and concise and accurate, be quantifiable, have performance standards. So dapat pag sinabi mong measure or take the measurement ng level ng particular lubrication, so dapat may nakalagay ka dong gano'n dapat yung level. For example, dapat 80% fill. No? May nakalagay na performance standard. And then, it should drive consistency of execution. Meaning, if you have the procedure, kung anong nagagawa ni Technician 1 at kung anong nagagawa ni Technician 2, if they follow the same procedure, iisa yung output. Hindi tayo magre-rely sa skill set ng tao, no? Kung precision based yung kung precision procedures yung mga procedures ninyo, that procedure will provide repeatability ng output. Kahit pa yung technician 1 may baguhan at yung technician 2 mo ay na. So dapat parehas lang sila ng output. From RCM, nakikita rin yung spare parts, malalaki yung spare parts na requirement mo. You will also calculate kung ano dapat yung correct reorder point. Of course, kung ito yung mga critical equipment, wala ka dapat stock out. So the KPI is no stock out. And then from your inspection, dapat mag-generate siya ng corrective work. You know na ang best practice, so alam naman nating lahat ito, pag PMCM, it's 80-20%, right? 80% na PM, 20% na CM. However, dapat yung mga PM mo should be making more corrective. Pero pag lumabas yung mga corrective na yon, ang tawag na natin doon is corrective or CM due to PM, no? So, yung CM due to PM, dapat yan ay nanggagaling sa iyong preventive maintenance program. Ang pagpasok nito sa ating CMMS is not a CM. Ang pagpasok nito is PM. Mapapasama pa rin siya sa PM. Even though the action or the task is corrective, kasi nga siya ay naging result ng iyong preventive maintenance program, it should be under PM yung man-hours. Na hindi siya dapat magiging corrective. I'll talk about that later pag pinag-usapan na natin yung PDM. Ito naman yung PDM, yung predictive maintenance. So this is actually the vibration monitoring, the ultrasonic, the IR thermography, the oil analysis, the motor circuit analysis that we are using or doing on our equipment.
Excuse me, Sir Jason.
PDM. May
Hello, sir.
special
Excuse
tools, may special skills. And if you don't require special tools, at mag-monitor ka lang din naman ng mga parameters, you can actually assign it to operator. Yung
Excuse
gagawin
me, Sir
talaga ng
Jason.
ating maintenance people, nagre-require ng special skill set. Yes?
Sir Jason, sorry to we have a question po kasi, sir.
Okay.
Sir, the question is, what is the best practice to classify the spare parts?
Best practice to classify the spare parts. Okay, we have actually 3 types of classification. The consumables, the insurance spares, and the PM operating spares. Pag sinabi nating PM operating spares, ito yung ginagamit mo during PM. Ito yung na-identify, I'll just go back, balik lang ako. Ito yung na-identify, yung PM operating spares, ito yung na-identify ng RCM na gagamitin mo every time you are doing PM. Pag sinabi nating PM, so ito yung mga predetermined or naka-schedule. So, example, meron kang filter replacement every 3 months. So, yung filter, i-identify mo yan as PM operating spare. Now, pag pumasok naman sa consumables, ito naman consumables na to, ito naman yung nauubos. For example, magte-change oil ka, pero ang pagkukuhanan mo ay 1 drum, pero ang gagamitin mo lang ay 2 litro, kukuha ka lang ng 2 litro doon sa 1 drum, then yung oil na yon is classified as consumables. Now, yung sinabi kong isa pa, yung insurance spares, normally, ito yung nakapasok sa ating safety stock. Insurance spares are those items na hindi mo naman pinapalitan during PM, hindi mo rin naman nakukonsume during PM or during the lifetime ng equipment, pero pwede siyang masira anytime. Insurance mo nga ito eh. So, kung kailan siya masisira, dapat meron kang spare na magagamit para palitan siya. Normally, we provide as a practice 3% of installed o kaya naman ay yung nagamit mo last year. Whichever is higher. Yun ang ginagamit naming ROP or reorder point. For example, hindi kasama sa PM program mo yung part 1 o kung anumang part yon, no? Pero nasira siya last year, 2 beses siya nasira. So this year, mag-i-stock ako ng 2 doon para naka-insured ako ng 1 taon. Or 3%. So halimbawa, yung part na yon sa buong planta, meron kang 1,000 nun. So ang 1,000 ganon, pwedeng masira. Ang 3% na ngayon ay nagiging 30. No? So yung 30, I will stock 30 instead nung 2. No? So kasi on my mindset, insured dapat ako ng particular number of that spare parts kung masiraan man ako for this year. Did I answer your question? Okay kaya? Hindi ko lang kita yung screen natin.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, we have a follow-up question
Okay.
regard to that. Is insurance spares a critical spare?
Yeah, normally ang insurance pair natin ay critical spare. That's correct. So, ang nilalagyan namin ng mga insurance pair ay yung mga critical A equipment. And then kasi yung ating spare parts, meron din yung criticality. Bukod sa equipment criticality, you are also doing spare parts criticality. Pag pumatak sa spare parts criticality na siya critical A, doon kami naglalagay ng insurance pair or safety stock.
Right. Thank you for that, sir. I think the 2 thumbs up indicates na nasagot po yung question.
Okay. Just additional lang doon, hindi lang critical spares ang nilalagyan namin ng safety stock. Meron din kasi tayong tinatawag na capex spares. When we say capex spares, planned naman ito, no? Sorry. Kasi kanina sinabi ko 3 lang eh. Sabi ko PM operating spare, consumable spare at saka yung insurance. Meron pa rin palang isa pa, yung capex, pero planned naman ito. Normally we plan it to be purchased for the next 3 years o kaya for the next 5 years. Pag sinabi natin capex, edi ang ating budget is coming from a capital expenditure. So, yun yung mga types ng spare parts identification natin. Okay? Okay na kaya, Jamie?
Yes, sir. We're good to go na po.
Okay. So, this is an equivalent chart, no, ng PDM, no, compared do sa kanina ng PM. Ito naman PDM, no. So the coverage is also coming from an RCM. Yung route compliance natin is KPI of greater than 90%. Yung corrective work natin is greater than 35%. And then yung mean time to implement should be greater than 45 days. Hindi ko nabigyan ng emphasis. Preventive maintenance, yung mean time to implement normally is greater than, corrective work coming from preventive maintenance, ang mean time to implement is less than 30 days. Corrective work coming from PDM is less than 45 days. So ito naman yung ating mean time to implement. And then we have QAQC 100%, dapat na-check lahat ng ating PDM. And then normally, we have this asset health monitoring. How many equipment is under the PDM program and how many of those equipment is defective. So when we get the percentage, it should be greater than 90%. So yung mga KPI ng ating PDM program. As I had mentioned earlier, pag-usapan natin yung 80-20. Diba? Open lang ako ng paint. Yan. So, alam natin kasi dati no na pagka ang hirap magsulat, no? Diba dapat 80-20. Palakihin ko pa. Jamie, just checking, nakikita ba yung screen?
Yes po, sir. Medyo maliit lang.
Maliit
Ayan.
lang. Sana. Lakihan ko na lang yung aking So, diba alam natin, we have 80% PM. Ito naman yung ating target lagi, And then 20% CM. So ito, no doubt, okay naman yun, 20% CM. Dapat laging ganyan yung target natin. Less than this is better. No, I've seen organization na kaya ang 85-15. No? Meron din kayang 90-10. So napakagagaling na ng mga ganong organization. However, kung ating paghihiwa-hiwalayin yung 80, yan, diba sabi kanina, dapat daw 35 ICM or corrective maintenance due to PDM. Yan. Yun yung sinabi kanina nito. As you have noticed, 35% corrective work from PDM inspection. So, dapat 35% ng 80 na yon is corrective work din. No? But hindi siya mapapa-assign dito sa CM natin. Mapapa-assign pa rin siya sa PM. Kasi ibig sabihin, our program is working at nakukuha natin yung mga failures, impending failure. Hindi pa siya talaga failure, no? Impending failure. Kaya nagagawa na agad natin ng paraan. We'll talk about failure later on para mas maintindihan nyo kung ano ba yung equipment failure. So 35%, so may natitira pa tayong 45 na sa 80. So ano naman yon? Meron din tayo kasing tinatawag na CM due to PM. Assumption is actually 35 din. Hindi lang nakalagay doon sa ating program kanina. Ha? So, actually, yung ating program should be 10% lang yung nakalagay mo sa SAP. No? Yung iyong PM program, yung kasama na yung condition-based maintenance, should be 10% lamang. Dapat, ito ngayon ay nag-generate ng 35% of work ng corrective maintenance due to PDM and 35% of work ng corrective maintenance due to PM. Pag ganito ang ating organization, ibig sabihin our organization is mature enough na most of our activities, hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng overactivity, tama lang, nakakapag-produce tayo ng corrective work. Pero again, assign pa rin siya sa PM kasi before the failure occurs, nakikita natin yung problema. Okay, malinaw to. Mahirap itong i-measure. Kailangan magkaroon ka ng other way to measure it kasi on my experience sa CMMS namin, kapag nagkaroon ka ng work order coming from operations, ito na yung pinapasok namin sa CM. Pero kapag ang work order mo, kahit yan ay replace coming from maintenance, ibig sabihin nanggaling siya sa PDM program or nanggaling siya sa PM, dapat sa PM yung iyong pasok. So on our own CMMS, sa ating computer management system or computerized maintenance management system, dapat meron tayong way on how to measure it. And it is a challenge, on my previous organization, hindi namin na perfecto, but you should be able to measure it para makuha mo yung effectivity ng iyong maintenance program. Okay. So this slide just shows the availability ng IIoT for our predictive maintenance. Medyo malaki lang yung investment, but for those bigger plants, refineries, petrochemicals, they are able to install these kinds of IIoT solutions. Meron na talagang mga dashboards that you can measure your KPI, that you can check the asset health. So automatic na ipakita na niya yung those under predictive maintenance. Okay. This is corrective maintenance. So we have the deferred and we have the immediate. So when we say deferred, ito yung napapaliban natin. Again, ang practice is kung may nakitang problema ang operations, na hindi nanggaling sa ating program, ay ibig sabihin yung operations ang nakakita, nakarating sa kanila. Nakita na nila na umuusok yung equipment. So nakarating na sa kanila, yun ang mga pumapasok sa CM. Pero for example, during your predictive maintenance route or condition monitoring route, may pumupuntang nagche-check ng temperature, nakita ng ating inspector na tumataas, nag-elevate ang temperature, pero wala pa naman doon sa alert level. At nagkaroon ka ngayon ng activity. Yung activity is to, for example, replace the fan, o kaya naman kung ano man gagawin sa motor. That activity is not CM, even though it's CM due to PDM. Okay? For deferred, na-schedule natin. Sometimes our operations people will not permit us to do the activity agad, because of some operational constraints. However, ini-schedule siya with our planners. So yan yung mga deferred corrective maintenance. But again, if the work order came from operations, even though siya deferred, papasok siya sa CM. Yung immediate, these are the critical ones. Nasira yung equipment mo, kailangan mo ma-repair within the day, or within an hour, or within 2 hours. So, immediate kailangan. Ito yung mga these are the times that maintenance people are being called in kapag ka ano yung oras, no? Nasa madaling araw nangyari, so call din na yung maintenance people. Okay, any questions pa tayo, Jamie, about maintenance because mag-equipment failure na tayo? Kasunod.
Right, everyone, we are inviting you to perhaps raise your hands or type your questions. Sir, wala pa naman pong sa chat ngayon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sige po. I'll just notify you na lang, sir. Okay, let's
Okay.
continue.
So, we'll talk about equipment failure. So, and a failure actually is, itong mga definitions coming from Nowlan and Heap report. Nowlan and Heap actually is the one who studied the first RCM, yung kauna-unahang RCM. So, ito yung mga definitions. So, a failure is an unsatisfactory condition. In other words, a failure is an identifiable deviation from the original condition which is unsatisfactory to a particular user. During an RCM study, meron tayong tinatawag na operational context. Yung operational context, ito yung what the user want it to do. Kapag ka na-determine na yung what the user want it to do, then a deviation on that operational context, yun yung failure. So, it may be that the equipment is running, but it's not achieving the required flow, for example, failure na rin yun, functional failure yun. So, hindi siya physical failure, tumatakbo yung equipment, walang vibration. However, hindi niya na-achieve yung gusto mong flow rate, so meron ka ng functional failure, which is the next term. A functional failure is the inability of an item to meet a specified performance standard. Yung performance standard na yun yung operational context and is, identified by the operator, usually identified by the operator. Now, a potential failure is an identifiable physical condition which indicates a functional failure is imminent and is usually identified by a maintenance technician using predictive or quantitative preventive maintenance. So ito naman yung potential failure. Again, this came from Nowlan and Heap. Now, this slide shows the traditional view of equipment doon sa taas. So sabi, the older the equipment, the more likely it is to fail. So kung mapapansin niyo dito, most items wear out. Sa dulo siya kung ito yung life ng ating equipment, sa dulo siya nagwe-wear. Yun yung traditional view. However, based on Nowlan and Heap, nung nag-study sila for reliability-centered maintenance, it is not always na age-related ang problema. In fact, mas marami nga ang random. Kung mapapansin nyo dito, the random is 89% and yung age-related is 11% lang. Now, the problem during that time, yung mga PM program is puro predetermined. Ibig sabihin, ito na lang, to make it short, hindi mabibigyan ng solusyon ng predetermined maintenance ang lahat ng problema o lahat ng failure mode. Because only 11% of all those failure modes is age-related. Yung predetermined maintenance, ang ina-address lang noon is age-related, yung nagwe-wear. Mas marami ang random. Mas marami since 89% yung random. These are other studies na nagsasabi ng same output. So may mga studies, even NASA conducted a study, the Navy conducted a study as well. At iba pang study dito sa baba ay yung Broberg, MSP, and sub-MEPP. So nagsasabi, on the average, yung age-related ay only 18%. Sabihin na lang natin sa United Airlines, 11% doon sa study ni Nowlan and Heap. But on the average, pag pinagsama-sama lahat yung mga study, 18% lang ang age-related. And 82% is actually random. So, anong message? The message is, hindi lahat ng program should be focusing on age-related or predetermined. No? So hindi dapat ganun ang program natin. This is an example of random failures focusing on random. No? So sabi niya, out of 10 billion bearings, by the way, the source is coming from SKF. Kilala naman tong bearing manufacturer. So out of 10 billion bearings, 90% of these 10 billion bearings outlive the equipment. So, walang problema. Natagalan pa niya yung equipment. 9.5 are replaced prior to failure for preventive reasons. So, ito probably yung mga pumasok sa ating predictive or condition-based program. No? So, nang makita na nagkakaroon na nag-iinit na yung bearing, pare-replace na natin prior to actual failure. And 0.5 are replaced because they are damaged or have failed. So talagang 0.5 lang ang nasisira. So hindi mo talaga masasabi na yung bearing is actually age-related. Nalalampasan pa nga niya yung life ng equipment. And these are the reasons. No? So fatigue, poor lubrications, poor seals or contamination, improper handling, mounting and improper application, and even yung ating storage. Improper yung pagkaka-storage ng mga bearings. There are preservation activities na binabaliktad mo dapat yung mga bearing. No? So, may dahilan kung bakit ginagawa yon to make the bearing or to have para mas maging longer ang life ng ating bearing.
All right, Sir Jason, we have a question po.
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, the question is it possible that machine failure can be due to design?
Machine failure can be due to design. When the equipment or the machine is being designed, meron siyang tinatawag na inherent reliability. If you do not require, or I mean, if you require more than that design, definitely masisira talaga yung machine. So, ang tinatanong niya kasi kung yung design ay magiging source ng failure. That's what I get dun sa question niya. Mangyayari lang yon kung ginagamit mo siya more than the design requirement. So kumbaga binili mo yung equipment, gusto mo siyang gamitin more than sa kanyang capability. So yun talaga ang problema. So the solution there is to redesign or replace the equipment. The equipment that will provide yung operational context na nire-require. Ganun ba yung context ng question?
Meron po siyang nilagay dito under design, sabi niya. Or Miss Joland, does that answer your question or would you like some follow-up?
Ayan.
Yes.
Under design. Jolan, actually yung nabanggit ko kanina, if you are using the equipment more than the design capacity, edi talaga magiging failure siya. The solution is to replace the equipment. So normally you buy an equipment yung requirement mo sa equipment should be lower than the design capability. Para meron ka pang meron ka pang margin, no? Does that answer your question or iba yung context ng question mo? Pwede mo namang
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, sorry. Actually, sir, based kasi dito sa experience namin, mayroon kaming isang big fans na naka-install sa planta. And the failure is repeated. Almost every year, we are replacing the shaft. Palagi siya, sir, nag-worn out. So, we found out na ang failure could not be on the operation na over capacity. It could be
Okay.
on the from the design phase. Iniisip namin sir baka yung shaft is the diameter is smaller compared to the load it is bearing. So
Yeah.
kaya sir nagtatanong ako na baka the failure of the machine can be attributed also to from the design, not only during the operation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, on the context ng sinabi mo, no, on the context nun, yeah, that's correct. Ano, under design yung fan, probably. But have you conducted a root cause analysis already? Nag-root cause analysis na ba kayo?
Actually, sir, already the root cause analysis has been done, but
Mhm.
the OEM is insisting that their design is okay.
Mhm.
So ngayon, sir, palagi kami the problem is yung cost ng shop is very expensive, around 400,000 Saudi riyal. I think it's almost 6 million pesos. So
Okay.
yun ang problema namin ngayon, and we are operating for four machines with the same problem. Kaya yun, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So, ang problem pala dito, kinokontra ng OEM. Kinokontra ng OEM yung nakita ninyong root cause. So, basically, the root cause is shaft diameter, maliit, na-identify na ito ng tamang engineering calculations. Yeah, in
Isa
this
sir
case,
sa mga Opo, sir, yun yung isa sa mga factor na tinitingnan namin, yung diameter ng shaft. Kasi halos lahat ng machine namin, we have 4 machines na gumagamit identical spare. Ganon, parehas ang problema nila.
tapos pare-parehas din ang failure mode.
Parehas ang failure mode, sir.
Okay. Sige, probably that's the design. No? Kung pare-parehas, 4 and it's the same failure mode, then it's probably the design. Yung application nyo is not applicable doon sa design ng equipment. Now, a deeper study should be done kung kinokontra to ng OEM. So probably you need to ask for a third-party evaluation, yung talagang mga expert dyan sa application. And then doon ka makakakuha ng solution, no, from a third-party evaluation.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so off ko na lang yung yung video ko para mas mas mababa yung band. By the way, before continuing, I saw someone commented on the chat, margin of deterioration ang nakalagay doon. Thank you for that. Basically, that's the margin of maintenance or margin of deterioration. Okay, so we're here to discuss the P2F, P2F curve. Originally, yung P2F curve was introduced by Stan Nowlan and Howard Heap again sa RCM that they conducted last 1978. This was sa aviation industry. Sila yung kauna-unahang nag-study about reliability-centered maintenance. However, John Mowbray, the creator of RCM2, cleared this P2F curve kasi parang medyo magulo yung unang explanation ni Nowlan and Heap. And this was when he created the RCM2 book in 1997. Now, as you can see, he has here point where failure starts to occur. This is the point where this failure is discovered. So magkaiba yung start at saka yung discovery. No? Normally, ang nakikita natin as maintenance practitioners is dun sa discovery na. No? Mahirap tiyempuhan na eksakto when the point ng failure starts to occur. No? So lagi tayo dun sa discovery. And then here is point where the item fails kung meron na rin siyang functional failure. Meron pa rin tayong actual na total failure. Providing more clarity, point P is potential failure. The point at which a defect is first detected by an on-condition task. So it may be a thermography, a vibration, uh, um, oil analysis, motor controls, motor circuit analysis. So we'll talk about that later. So that's point P. Point F is a functional failure, the point at which the asset can no longer deliver its intended function. Again, this is in terms of operational context. And the P to F interval, this is where you plan. This means itong P to F interval na to, this is where you plan, schedule, and execute repair or replacement of items that point P has detected. So ito yung P to F curve. Let's say that an initiating event wherein a contaminated lube oil is applied by the to the machinery by a lube technician. So isang lube technician nag-apply ng contaminated oil. The condition monitoring technician will be able to identify this potential failure by means of oil analysis. Sabihin na lang nating time ito. Dito sa portion na to, makikita na ng oil analysis. Vibration may be able to detect it probably here kasi nagkaroon na ng effect yung contaminated oil at nagkaroon na ng vibration. And then here, ultrasound. Here is thermography. And then when the operator starts to detect through abnormal noise, malapit na tayong mag-fail. Malapit na dito sa total failure. And then here comes the functional failure. Magkakaroon tayo ng issue sa ating machinery. And then here comes the total failure. So this shows na hindi kung nakarating sa operator, I just go back. Kung nakarating na sa operator dito sa abnormal noise, sa point P, when the operator were able to identify through abnormal noise, ibig sabihin yung ating condition monitoring activities were not able to capture it. Okay? Now question, how do we ensure that our condition monitoring activities will be able to identify or mahuhuli the potential failure? Now in terms of frequency, it should be 1/3 ng P to F. So kung this is P hanggang dito sa potential failure, sa functional failure, potential failure sa functional failure, that time should be divided into 3 at yung ating condition monitoring activity should be within that 1/3 of that time. So para ma-identify niya o mahuli niya yung potential failure na yun. So kung mas longer than that time, makakarating na talaga sa atin sa operator. And when it reach the operator, it's already a corrective maintenance. Hindi na siya papasok sa ating PDM program. Okay? And in terms of cost, the longer it takes para ma-repair yung equipment, pag mahal, pag higher ng cost that will incur to return that equipment to original state. As you notice, each potential failure na tawag dito that we do has a particular time or P to F interval. For example, in the oil analysis, mahaba pa yung ating P to F interval. So if we act agad, pag nakita natin yung oil analysis results that there is contamination in oil at ginawa na agad natin ng paraan, we did filtration already, then hindi na aabot sa tataas pa yung vibration. Hindi na aabot sa magkakaroon na ng ultrasonic disturbance and so on and so forth. So the earlier the detection of the potential failure, the lower the cost will be. How? Because we'll be able to plan the shutdown. We'll be able to purchase the required parts. For example, it's a bearing, so makakabili na tayo ng bearing kung hindi siya nakastock sa ating inventory. And the secondary damage or component damage, secondary damage or component damage ay ma-avoided. Now, this is another variety ng P to F curve. Tinatawag itong DIPF curve coming from Doug Blacknett. He actually created this in 2006. I was actually a student by Doc Placnet when he um, conducted the training on RCM. No? Ang tawag niya sa kanyang RCM ay RCM Blitz. No? So he actually created this RCM Blitz, and we were fortunate to be, or I am fortunate to be part of those that was trained under Doc Placnet. Siya yung revise ng P2F curve. So tinawag niyang DIPF curve. So here we have point D, design, no? The point where a team is selected to procure and design the asset to a desired level of reliability. So dito pumapasok kung yung application mo is more than the design, talaga magkakaroon ka ng problema when you are using the equipment. So there should be a margin of deterioration or margin of maintenance. Yung pwede ka makapag-maintain. Dapat mas mataas yung design over the operational context. Now the point I is installation. This is the point when you install the equipment and put it into service. No? And then yung regular na nating P2F, no? Yung point P, the potential failure, and then point F, yung functional failure, and then yung pinaka-worst, yung total failure. Total failure. Now here he has actually 4 domains. The first one is the design domain, wherein we create the inherent reliability of the asset. Example, kung dinesign mo siya as redundant, mas mataas yung reliability niya kumpara sa dinesign mo na hindi siya redundant. No? Proactive domain. This is the proactive domain. Dito tayo nagpapasok ng ating proactive maintenance strategies such as PM, PDM, at saka condition monitoring. No? Dito sa proactive domain. The corrective domain is the detection of the potential failures allows time to plan. So using our predictive technologies, the earlier the detection, magkakaroon pa tayo ng time, no, to plan the replacement and schedule and execute the corrective maintenance. And then actually kapag nandito na, meron na tayong functional failure, nasa reactive domain na tayo. May downtime na, and of course, the cost of maintenance is higher compared to the previous domains. So ito na ngayon yung what I mean is this is now the new DIPF curve. No? So any question dito before I provide an example ng PM evaluation? Do we have questions, Jamie?
Yes, sir. Actually, so we have a question here that says, what do you think is the reason for constant machine downtime and product rejects? Is it a technical or a manpower problem?
Oh, okay. Now, I cannot actually say, it may be a manpower issue sa skill set nila, or it may be a technical issue sa machine problem, no? What you need to do is to conduct a root cause analysis. So dapat mag-conduct ka ng root cause analysis. Sa root cause analysis, we have actually 4 types of causes. We have the human cause, doon papasok yung skill set. We have the physical cause, doon papasok yung problema sa mga spare parts mo. No? We have the systemic cause. When you say systemic cause, once you identify the systemic cause, which may be a human or a part or a physical cause, pag na-identify mo yun, hindi na siya mauulit. No? And then lastly, yung tinatawag nating latent cause, ito naman is yung hidden, no? Nakatago. No? Baka mamaya meron kayong mga setting na akala nyo okay, pero since laging ganun ang ginagawa ng operator natin, nagkakaproblema yung machine. So conducting a root cause analysis will provide you that vision, ano ba tawag doon? Hindi naman vision, no? Makikita, no? You can see, no? Which is the true cause nung naging problema ng machinery mo. So sa ngayon, hindi ko masasagot. No? It may be, it can be a human cause, or it can be a systemic cause, or which kahit maalin doon sa apat na sinabi ko, human cost, systemic cost, physical cost, or latent cost. Okay ba yun? Kung sino man yung nagtanong?
Yes, sir. We receive a thumbs up. We have
Okay.
another question, sir. The question is, what is the ideal time to invest in predictive maintenance tools? What is the ideal time to invest in predictive maintenance tools?
Dapat meron kang in this case, kasi you need to conduct a life cycle cost. No? What I'm trying to say is, kasi mahal. No? For example, you're going to buy a vibration monitoring tool, no? Or a vibration monitoring system, kung system na, medyo mataas ang investment. So, you look into the cost of investment, and kung kukunin mo lang na service siya. For example, may mga companies naman that provide service na mag-check lang ng vibration mo every 3 months. Kung sa anong tawag doon, sa pag-level mo, no, ng cost against doon sa initial cost mo, baka mas mura pa na kumuha ka na lang ng service instead of purchasing a new equipment or a new system, kasi medyo mahal nga. However, if you plan to expand in the future, lalaki yung planta mo, kung magme-maintain ka ng isang condition monitoring technician at bibili ka ng ganitong equipment, ay mas magiging mas mura kaysa doon sa kukuha ka ng service outside, then I think that will provide you anong tawag doon? Magbibigay na siya sa iyo ng dahilan, no, para bumili ng equipment. Now, doon sa question of when, no, if you're looking into predictive technology and predictive maintenance, I encourage you to buy now. If you have the equipment, if you have the financing requirements, bumili ka na ngayon kasi mas maganda yung predictive compared sa preventive. Babawasan mo lang yung mga preventive mo, yung papasok na sa iyong ito, papakita ko doon sa next slides. Kung kailan mo malalaman, meron kasi tayong PM evaluation. I'll provide that on the next slides. So, bitin mo na yung sagot doon, pero ipapakita ko on the next slides. May questions pa, no, Jumi?
Yes, sir. We have how would we know if our machine is still reliable?
Okay. Meron dapat nagmo-monitor ng reliability ng iyong machine. There are positions, for example, on my previous company, na meron kaming mga reliability engineers. They monitor the reliability in terms of equipment failure. No? So meron silang calculations. No? You calculate the reliability of a system, of an equipment. No? Pwede mo siyang i-calculate, and then meron kang normally KPI or target. What we do, or what we did, we use a 2% equipment failure rate. So kapag mas mataas na sa 2%, nagkakaroon na kami ng program, no, to reduce that equipment failure. When we calculate the equipment failure, we actually use tons of product produced or over the equipment failure. Mahirap ipaliwanag pero we have this PU calculation or plant utilization calculation. In the plant utilization calculation, we calculate the maximum product produced or capacity ng planta, and then kung magkaka-equipment failure, gaano kadami yung mababawa sa capacity na yon, and then we get the rate, no, or the percentage. So yung nabawas over the maximum plant capacity, yun yung minemaintain namin at less than 2%. You can actually devise a way on how to calculate equipment failure, and then kapag tumataas o bumababa, then you need to provide reliability initiatives. An example of reliability initiative, yung mag-i-invest ka na sa redundancy, that's an example. So halimbawa, yung isang machine, lagi siyang nag-fail, tapos yung failure na yon nagpo-provide sa inyo ng more than 2% in terms of sa inyong how you calculate it, then magpe-present ka na ng investment project sa management na kapag ka naging redundant ito, ganito karami ang matitipid mo para mag-increase yung equipment failure. So maraming way actually. Maraming way. So I hope that answers the question.
Sir, speaking of another way, somebody asked if there is a software to calculate that po.
Software, meron actually, mas mahal. For reliability, ang ini-aim talaga ng previous company ko is Meridian. Kung alam niyo yung Meridian software, yun talaga. Lahat ng reliability functions nandun. But what we did before, manual calculation. Nagkaroon na lang kami ng Excel sheet, and then later on, pinagawa namin ng integration sa IT. Nung nauso yung Power BI, nagpagawa kami ng Power BI sa IT para doon na lang nag-i-input yung operations people, and then may view na lang yung mga reliability engineers. So hindi talaga namin kayang bumili ng talagang tunay na software because masyadong mahal. What we did is gumawa lang kami ng mga calculation templates, and then we ask our IT department to create a software para yung software na yon, siya na lang yung naging common window namin with operations, process engineering, reliability, and maintenance people. Kasi lahat ng tao nakikita yon. Sa lahat ng mga engineering people nakikita yon. Pero kung tanong mo yung is there a software, I know of a GE software, Meridian. Meridian siya. Parang binago na nila ang pangalan kasi nabili nila ng GE, hindi na siya Meridian. Let me check. Siguro ko na lang, email ko na lang later kung sino man yung nagtanong. But before, they call it Meridian, kaso nabili ni GE, parang iba na yung pangalan niya ngayon. Okay?
Alright. Yes, nag-thumbs up naman na po sila, sir. So I'll assume that answers their question. There's no more question and we can proceed na po.
Okay, this is last 3 slides na lang. I'll just show an example of a PM evaluation. PM evaluation is actually a part of PM optimization, but this is how you evaluate a preventive maintenance task. So what we do is we remove those tasks that don't add value. So alin din yung mga tasks that should be replaced with PDM technology application. So ito yung sagot dun sa gustong magtanong about buying a PDM tool. No? So if you really are aiming to replace those PM tasks and make it PDM, those tasks that should be replaced with a lubrication audit should be transferred to operations or need to be re-engineered. So if you say re-engineering, kahit yung pagpapalit lang ng procedure, isang part ng procedure, binago mo, that's re-engineering already. Binago mo na. So not necessarily yung magpapatayo ka ng bagong system o bibili ka ng bagong equipment, not necessarily na ganon. Even yung magpapalit ka lang or magdadagdag ka lang ng isang task, that's already re-engineering. Now, ayan. This is a decision tree that we created previously na pwede nyo rin namang i-adapt. No? So, eto lang, tanong, is the task related to preparation for or return to service of an asset? So, if yes, dito mo siya i-classify, administrative and safety. Pag no, may tanong ulit, is the task addressing a specific failure mode? Pag no, tanggalin mo na. Wala ka palang ina-address na failure mode, bakit mo ginagawa? So tanggalin mo na. But pag yes, is the task quantitative? Yes, so ito pa rin, so on so forth. May mga question, and then eventually ito yung mga recommendation. classify as administrative, recommend as non-value added, so tatanggalin mo na, recommend replacement with PDM. So kailan siya nag-isip na papalitan mo ng PDM? May tanong dito, no? Is the task better performed by PDM? So dun sa nagtanong kanina, look into your PM program, and then in the PM program, look into the task. Kung yung task ba is better performed by a PDM program, then do it. Let me give you an example. You have a PM program na nag-overhaul ng isang pump every 3 years. Then, bakit may no-overhaul yun every 3 years? Wala lang. Sinabi lang ni OEM na mag-overhaul ka every 3 years. So, naka-PM yun. Basta every 3 years, overhaul ka. So, na gumagastos ka sa pump, for example, 2 million pesos every 3 years. Now, if you will create a vibration monitoring program, and then after 3 years, halimbawa na bagong overhaul yung pump, after 3 years, you look into the vibration. Okay pa ba yung vibration? Or okay pa ba ang oil analysis? Okay pa ba ang ultrasound? Kung okay pa, you can defer it actually. So hindi mo na kailangang mag-overhaul ulit. Kasi sinasabi ng iyong predictive maintenance tool, hindi pa naman siya masisira, okay pa siya. Based doon sa ating discussion earlier. No? Hindi pa siya mag-fail. You can continue to use the pump. You don't need to overhaul it. So, yun ang isang sagot dun sa question mo. If you plan to make PDM as a tool for you to evaluate your PM program, then better buy it now kasi malaki din na matitipid mo. We were able to create a savings of 10 million every 5 years doon sa isa kong planta na ginawa namin ng PM optimization because we replace the PM program by PDM activities. So, kailangan mo nga lang talaga na may PDM tools ka. And so on and so forth. So, hindi ko na isa-isahin. These are just guide questions na ito na yung magiging recommendations. Pwede mong ilagay sa lubrication route, pwede mong ilagay sa operator care, pwede mong ilagay sa no modifications required, you don't need to modify it, or you recommend to re-engineer it. So, you can actually start by creating a PM evaluation process doon sa inyong mga facilities, and that's basically eliminating those non-value adding tasks. Makakatipid kayo sa manpower as well as sa spare parts. This is an example of a PM evaluation. Halimbawa, we have PM number 24, and yung task description, like this one, inspect airlines for cracks or kinks. So question lang dito is inspection ng airlines para maghanap ka ng cracks or kinks, kailangan mo ba ng special tools? No. Kailangan mo ba ng special equipment? No. Kasi visual lang yan at kayang-kayang i-assess ng operator. So actually, pwede mo na siyang ilagay sa asset care. No? Pwede mong ibigay sa operator. Pwede yan. No? Check gearbox for proper operation. Pwede mong ibigay sa operator. No? For example, ito naman, no? Check oil level and condition of oil, condition of oil, fill or change as needed. So tulad nito, pwede namang ibigay na yan sa lubrication route. Bakit mo isasama pa sa PM mo? So yung task ng pag-check ng oil level, pwedeng tanggalin na sa PM, pero meron na siyang route. Umiikot na ngayon yung lubrication technician to check the oil level. And so on and so forth. These are examples of PM evaluation. And these are guide questions na pwede nyong gamitin. All those tasks containing check but does not contain the maximum or minimum or typical level or degrees of degradation gets re-engineered. So baguhin mo yung PM task, lagyan mo ng maximum level, lagyan mo ng minimum level or typical level or kung ano man yung requirement. Pertains to rotating elements gets replaced with PDM and NDT. Ito yung ginawa namin. Kapag ka-rotating, ginawa na namin PDM. Pertains to power cables and connections gets replaced with PDM and NDT. So pag ito naman yung mga power cables and connections, meron na kaming ultrasonic. Pertains to lubrication that is not part of a reassembly procedure, ilalagay na lang siya sa lube route. Tatanggalin na siya sa normal PM. Kasi hindi naman, ang example, every 3 months, i-relubricate. Pero hindi naman siya part ng reassembly. So yung relubrication, nilagay na lang sa lube wrap. Meron na lang PDM technician or lubrication technician na siya na lang ang mag-lubricate every 3 months. Pertains to checking for normal operations that is not at the end of reassembly procedure, ibibigay na yan sa operator care. Kapag hindi naman reassembly, operations na lang ang titingin. Uses a simple visual inspection that is not at the end of reassembly, operator care na rin. Is procedural gets a classification or administrative and safety and gets no recommendation. Basta daw administrative, safety, legal requirements, wala kang gagalawin dyan. Legal requirements yan. Contains subjective phrases as needed or as necessary, tatanggalin na yon. Hindi magandang ilagay as necessary or as needed. Dapat meron ka talagang classification or qualifier na kung ano talagang gagawin ng ating technician. Okay, so this is an example of PM evaluation guide. I recommend that you guys do an exercise of PM evaluation, kasi somehow magkakaroon ka ng PM optimization sa inyong, this is not a complete PM optimization, ini-evaluate mo lang yung what you have currently. So ito naman i-share namin sa inyo, you can start on this. But there is more to this. Siyempre, hindi naman siya kasama ng ating webinar. You can always reach me or kung sino man sa organization to provide you with more knowledge and more information. So actually, that's it. That's what I had prepared for today. Any questions?
Right. Thank you so much, Sir Jason. Yes, so we have a question here. So, for an organization with advanced maintenance program, what's the healthy ratio of mechanics assigned for CM versus PM activities?
They are asking of the number ba ng tao?
What's the healthy ratio of mechanics assigned for CM versus PM activities? So yes, sir.
I think that's number, no? Number. Normally, a technician handles both PM and CM activities. Some organizations use shifters. Halimbawa, may shifters ka, they normally do CM, no? And then those morning persons, sila nagagawa ng PM. However, hindi ko masabi kasi it depends on how many CM and how many PM yung nangyayari sa buong planta. But what I can say for a healthy organization, for one supervisor, dapat we have 11 to 14 technicians. That's a very good organization. If you have 14 technicians under one supervisor, that's a very good organization already. But in terms kung gaano kadaming CM at gaano kadaming PM, yun ay depende sa current profile ng inyong organization. Baka sa organization nyo talagang madaming CM. So hindi ko masasabi kung gaano kadaming technician. But a good organization is 11 to 14 technicians in one supervisor. Okay na ba 'yon?
Yes, okay na daw po. Any other questions from our audience? So you can raise hand or you can chat po. Yes, Sir Jolan.
Ma'am, hindi naman actually tanong, just to add dun sa last na question. I think mayroon tayong tinatawag na yung organization na SMRP, Society of Maintenance and Reliability Professional. Makikita mo doon sa data nila, meron silang manual, if I could remember, parang SMRP best practices. Yon, makikita po doon yung mga ganong question, yung ratio. Pwede nilang i-search yun, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Just an
yes,
information na po.
Yes po. Thank you, Sir Jolan.
Opo, ma'am. Thank you.
Right, that's a very good insight. Yes, so meron nga po SMRP that has books on such guides. Okay, any other questions pa po from our crowd? You can type in or ano. Ako na lang, Sir Jason. This is perhaps this can be our last question. Um, for you, sir, what are the trends you foresee in maintenance strategies for the upcoming years ahead? So, alam naman natin that times are changing and we are progressing. So, for someone, especially in the reliability and the maintenance profession, parang what's something to look um parang ano yung dapat subaybayan? What are we ano yung nakikita natin that can be a trend, that can be a future practice for this community?
Yeah, okay. For me, and even my observation, no, as we um, do some trainings and queries then from different organizations, they are actually starting to adopt RCM, reliability centered maintenance, and then using reliability centered maintenance, doon ngayon sila mag-a-assign ng maintenance strategies. So, what I see in the industry, especially here in the Philippines, kasi kakaunti pa yung nag-a-adapt ng RCM. No? And even some organizations is still parang inaano pa rin, sinisimulan pa lang din nilang mag-asset criticality. No? Kasi based on the asset criticality, doon yan sila mag-a-assign ng assets na bibigyan ng RCM. So parang yun ang nakikita ko no? Especially in power industry, I have conducted, I think, 4 or 5 times ng RCM training already. And they are into RCM. Parang yun yung trend. No? Ayun. So that's what I think. In the Philippines specifically, organizations is starting to adopt RCM, and they use RCM in selecting the best maintenance strategy for their critical assets. Yeah.
Thank you, Sir Jason. Actually, sir, may mga question pa po eh. Yung question po is, tama po ba na all equipment inefficiencies are due to inefficient data provided by operations and maintenance for evaluation? So, ayun po. Kung hindi ma-achieve ang required efficiency, then wala nang room for optimization.
Kung hindi ma-achieve ang required efficiency, wala nang room for optimization. Actually, I don't agree with that na wala nang room for optimization. There's always a room for optimization. Ang magiging ano lang talaga, ang magiging limiting factor mo is yung design ng equipment. Kung hindi na talaga kaya ng equipment, then you cannot optimize anymore. So, but from your operating context up to that design, you can always do something. Pwede mong increase that level of efficiency. Ang limiting factor lang talaga is yung design. That's it. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Tapos meron pa pong another question here. What is higher priority, PM or CM?
Hindi naman tinatanong na yan. CM ang higher priority always. No? CM should be the first one kasi pagka dumating na yung CM, ibig sabihin may problema ka na. No? So preventive, wala ka pang problem. So syempre, laging uunahin mo yung corrective. In terms of priority, the emergency work, that's priority 1. Priority 2 should be corrective work. Priority 3 should be preventive work. So higher priority lagi ang CM.
Another question, sir. Ano po ang minimum machine downtime na healthy?
Okay. It depends on the organization, but yung inadapt ng previous organization ko is less than 2%. Okay?
Actually, sir, questions are keep coming. We have Sige po, let's have at least 2 minutes pa. How do
Sige.
you put priority on the PM works, sir?
Priority. As I have said, merong numerous number of priorities. I have said yung PM1, yung priority 1, that's always an emergency. Priority 2 is CM, priority 3 is corrective sorry. Priority 2 is CM, priority 3 is PM. Ngayon, within the PM, maraming PM kasi. Ang magiging deciding factor will be the criticality. So for example, if you have a schedule of 10 equipment today, tapos 3 doon ang critical A, lahat sila priority 3, uunahin mo yung critical A. Tapos yung the rest ng critical B and Cs, that will be less priority for that day. Pero in terms sa CMMS, that's all priority 3, yung preventive maintenance. Okay?
Sir, last question na siguro. For the follow-up questions, you can send it over to AMR PP or Sir Jason. We'll be happy to accommodate it. So, last question. Work culture sometimes is one of the factors that hinders the implementation of these maintenance strategies. So, how are we going to deal with it?
Yeah. That's a very good question and a very difficult one to answer. Actually, when I did an agile project on PM optimization, it's very difficult to convince people, especially those people that are used to traditional views. So how did we overcome that challenge? What we did is we looked for a sponsor. No? A sponsor is someone with a higher authority and a higher position in your company, and then convince him first. Now, once you have his agreement, nakuha mo na yung kanyang support, then he will be the one to help you, no? To convince other people. No? So what we did, nag-present muna kami doon sa plant manager, kasi sa plant manager, under niya ang operations, under niya ang maintenance, under niya ang other departments. And then we want to implement this PM optimization project na convince siya, okay siya, tama siya. Even asset care, yung operator care, na convince siya. So lahat ng implementation namin afterwards is under him. So lahat sila magpa-follow. So eventually, sa simula, mahirap pasunodin. Pero kapag galing sa sponsor o galing sa higher authority yung utos, syempre susunod sila. And then later on, they will see the benefits. Mag-on-board na rin yung other people and other personnel in your company when they see the benefits. So ayun, so that's my tip, no? Convince nyo muna yung higher authority and then let him help you in implementing those strategies. Okay?
Right. Yes, Fu. Thank you so much, Sir Jason. Yes, I think that answered the question. And thank you everyone for joining. So that is the entirety of our webinar. Just to follow up my promotions for AMRPP, because I would like to invite everyone in here to join and be part of our community. This is just to show appreciation to our speaker, Sir Jason Mendoza. In grateful recognition of your invaluable contribution as a speaker for this webinar, thank you so much, sir. For our attendees, we also have your certificate to be forwarded, perhaps tomorrow or later. Okay. And then I'm just going to run off some promos. Again, our AMRPP membership is at 50% discount. This is for all memberships. We hope you can come and be part of us because we have so many activities, not just free webinars. And also, once you are a member, you have discounts for events that are in partnership with AMRPP, such as the APM LeadCon 2025. Now, if you are an aspiring speaker or you have case studies or experiences you want to share, we are inviting you to be a speaker at APM LeadCon. So this is a 45-minute speaking platform for everyone that would like to share your stories, your practices. So we are open. You can submit your abstract. So benefits, of course, you have a platform across different industries. Marami sa APM LeadCon comes from different industries and also has decision makers here. So this is a very good platform to show your story, your expertise. Another is, of course, once you are a speaker, you have a free pass for the whole 3-day conference. Now, if you are just starting, medyo kinakabahan, for this, we are also inviting you guys to share your expertise within the AMRPP community. So we are asking abstracts. If you'd like to submit your abstracts, we can host webinars for you to share your expertise within the community. So this is a good start for your speaking journey, for you to share, and we would be honored to provide platforms for everyone to share their knowledge, especially on our in our community. And then ayun yung promos natin. So this are the things that's coming up. For AMRPP, we have a benchmarking survey. So I saw questions here asking what is the healthy, ano yung number. So there are some books and references that tells you that scores your the current status of your organization. So one thing we would like to do in AMRPP is to have a national benchmarking survey. So the point of this is you can see kung nasaan yung standard nyo compare to the other industries or to other companies that is the same as yours. So we will be launching this perhaps late or early third quarter, and we will be very much happy if you would participate in this benchmarking survey. Another is the AMRPP Community of Practice. So AMRPP is the whole, basically is the entire community, but we would like to have our subgroups, the Community of Practice, that focus that has a more in-depth focus on our specialized sub-community. We're preparing one for asset management, technical trainings, reliability, plant performance, maintenance planning and schedule, and of course, condition-based and predictive maintenance. So it's a more in-depth, a more tight-gripped community that focuses on each topic. Hopefully, sa mga nag-apply that we would like to have more updates, I will send out more info for this upcoming community of practice. And of course, we also are in line to have another webinar this year. So yes, please stay tuned for that. Our speaker would be Sir Glenn Pamplona. He is a mechanical team lead from Prime Energy Development Resources. So so that's what's coming up. Promos for AMRPP. We're very thankful for everyone that's been here. Mahaba yung oras, but you were all engaged, and we are so happy about that. You can get more updates. Our LinkedIn is named AMRPP Phils. Of course, we have our Facebook and our website, which I'm also going to, tatag ko dyan para mas madali sa inyo. Right. Lastly, bago tayo mag-picture-picture for this, we would like to know how we did with this webinar. We would like to know your comments to the speaker, to us, the one organizing, so that we can better your experience for the upcoming webinars for AMRPP. So this is the QR code. You can scan it, and we will also be sending a link to your emails so that you have a easier way to give our evaluation. So I would like, alam ko, pa-out na tayo, and we were so thankful. Just a last thing, we would like to request a picture with everyone. If you are able to open your cameras for a short bit for everyone so that we can have a picture and we can post it on our socials. Hi, everyone. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Save ko lang. Baka makalimutan ko pala isa. Joke lang. Alright, another one. In 3, 2, 1. Smile. Alright. Thank you, everyone. You can tag us in our LinkedIn. Of course, the chat is still open. Kung gusto nyo pong post your LinkedIn connections in here, feel free and we'll connect with you. It's better to grow our community and help each other. We'll be happy to follow everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sir Jason. The
Thank you po.
presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
See you.
you.
Hopefully, see you on our next webinars. Thank you,
See you po.
everyone. Have a
Thank you,
safe
Sir
trip
Jason.
home.
Salamat. Bye.
Magbo-boost ako ng LinkedIn ko.
Marami pang questions, Jamie.
Na-answer naman po natin yung those that had sa chat.